Good morning, guys. Today I'll talk about this Hindenburg research which has rocked Adani's conglomerate, who rose to meteoric rise, being the third richest person in the world, and whose company has been rising like a giant, and taking its rise into by leaps and bounds. Probably even during pandemic, when the whole world was reeling under recession, Adani's group was gaining so much that share prices was soaring sky high, and it seemed like India, where we have got a mixed economy model where individuals are not allowed to amass so much wealth at such a breakneck speed. Obviously, Adani Port, Adani Energy, Adani, all kinds of businesses, but the whole enterprise and its investment grew so much, and with the repetition of its share prices being bought by even LIC, this government-owned insurance company, and one of the bankers in the SBI also, where commoners have their investment, and when with stocks went rising, even the commoners showed their wholehearted interest and their urge to buy more and more stocks. But this issue, which has gained notoriety because of its sniffing and its repetition of looking at the, it's like a surveillance. They keep an eye on some of the giants, and they do a lot of research over the years and come up with the papers. And in fact, it has exposed a number of such big conglomerates, and there was an investigation which led to the almost a debacle in the company, and the company had to be closed. So when this research agency tries to find out facts through its own channels, in fact, this company and this research organization is not old, a couple of years into its operation, and it sends people all over the world to take records and keep, authenticating the things with paper publications and also through social media. It's usually said that if it aims to damage the reputation of the company, and it goes all out against it, and it's not for no reason of its own. It keeps an eye on making money through short selling. That means once the company is in distress, the prices of the stocks fall. They go for buying. It's like distress purchase of this from the secondary market. And then when they are almost sure that, because they have predicted that 85% of Adani's share is going to be affected and drastically affected, and that's what happened. So the allegation and stood right, and it has posed 85 questions, all valid questions, and Adani's group of all the firm members, and they were in a position to clarify why it's investing in such shady or shadowy firms, where most of the companies are in fact interrelated to each other. And once there is a jolt to one of its member companies, if you would like to say it, because the sister companies or flagship companies in Mauritius and elsewhere, it's likely to get hit, the whole setup, because most of the investment of this company is simply moving around its own companies. Sometimes they don't stand the ground because they are mutually investing in each other, and it's an endemic problem of all the corporate world. It's not just with Adani's group of company. In fact, every company has its stakes, and there is a cap. I mean, you cannot buy all shares and so on. I mean, a maximum 50%, and 25% goes to the those deserving other investors, because the whole idea is that no company should be allowed to monopolize all the stock, and shouldn't play out as if it's ruling the roost. So there are financial sectors reforms going on, and what was alarming for this company was that majority of the investment that they had, they were concentrated in one or the other companies, and they were dealing with or having to do with their own people, own companies. Obviously, when this triggered large-scale reactions, and all the investors went panicky, and they started withdrawing all the assets. And in fact, it's usually said that, Adani's all of this structure, including his assets and liabilities, if we minus the liabilities, what is left only assets, and those assets not enough to pay back if all those investors they want their money back. So obviously the greatest hit came to LIC. That's nationalized insurance company, around thousands of crores. That's a huge sum for them. Obviously the commoners will have to pay to their nose, and who's going to gain out of it? So it's going to hit India's economy as well. It could be a fraction, but ultimately it talks about how these conglomerates, they work in tandem with and the filthy games going on. Adani has come up with its own way of responding to, with engaging an American firm to come out clean. But only time will tell us what's fishy, and how this conglomerate has been able to amass so much of investment. It cannot be without the tacit support of the government, because most of the contracts clinched through this company, whether it's energy deal or this coal or ports or all those kinds of sectors. These are key cardinal sectors which remain the mainstay of the economy. And during the recession pandemic, also it went soaring higher and higher. Unbelievably, stunningly, all those shares were 1,000 times or 100 times or so. Even the most robust social media giants like Facebook, Zuckerberg's or Tesla, they haven't been making so much. So this Adani used to be one of the richest persons, and they also bore the brunt, because the concentration of wealth in individuals, like in America, it doesn't augur well for the commoners and the Indians, where we have gone for the mixed model, and the social welfare schemes get a hit because these greedy businessmen, they keep on adding to their wealth, and concentration keeps rising. It's like hoarding of all the resources of the nation. Of course, it creates wealth or energy. Jobs for, but given the scenario of, it doesn't create so many jobs that it's all out, acquisition of major giants, and which are privatized. The Modi government is for the private investment, privatizations of all the key sectors, including defense and airports and all those. So everything is being managed by individuals. So when there is sort of tragic fall of such companies, obviously people raise their eyebrows, and the government is in a tight spot. That's why this government is ill-equipped, and in fact not in a position, a precarious condition, where the opposition is shouting, howling all the time, and the government has kept quiet. It's speechless in the sense that They have no plausible explanation as to how come right under the government knows its policy and fiscal policy is being framed, they could allow such things to happen because FERA and those kinds of agencies, they keep an eye on small investors and business people with accountability. But when it comes to such giants, they go scot-free. So obviously this is such a giant firm that it's not going to collapse like nickel and others where this Hindenburg research has brought them to their knees by publishing their inner documents and making them public. So these research organizations, they do it very professionally, engaging people and employing their own research with citations and hundreds of times citations, and they are well researched documentations, and it has its own solid grounds and foundations to stand by. In fact, if they are challenged and their documents have been challenged, they're going to challenge the firm, Adani Group, to show up their own documents in favor, and that won't be really pleasant for the companies, because they will have to dig deeper into. They will have to bring back. It's like resurrections of all those past investment, the growth patterns, justification of the percentage of profits, and clinching the deals, whether through the government involvement or through diplomatic rise and bureaucracy. So, in fact, I'm really aghast at. I thought that it's really going to be. I was quite much, full of praise for this person. He's not from the business background, and he's not even highly high caliber business people from Oxford and other places, well bred, but he has his acumen, and his insight into the business world has left everyone stunningly surprised that this guy could rise up, and an Indian guy, who could go to could be placed in the coveted spots, one of the richest people, just the third richest person, and ethical grounds, professional ethical grounds, and good business ethics should come, and it has to be populace, and it has to add to the economic growth in the real sense, not bubble burst where keep investing and touting as if a display of your wealth, and in fact most of the investors they can even get back their right investment and forget about the profits they're making. So I'm confident that there will be a high-level probe into all these allegations, and the company will withstand with this legitimate business deals, business model, and will pave the way forward with whatever it lost hundreds of billions, and within days of the announcement, because it shook the very foundation of the faith and the trust of the people, the investors. So I would like to say that India grows. India comes out, as one of the tiger economies, perhaps leaving behind China. And as the present government has been saying that we are going to be 10 trillion, $15 trillion economy. But it has to be, agricultural based. It has to be sustainable. It has to cater to the needs of the people, of the daily wage earners. It also to go to the pockets of those daily strugglers, not in the hands of a couple of people who are taking the whole economy on ransom, I'd say. and the government is like laissez-faire and their open policy towards offering contracts and bidding to every individual, right from the infrastructural firms like railways, airports, defense, coal mines, and all those kind of energy. Because energy has to be insured, and we need some assured energy production and consumptions and insurance for the future, because we are moving from fossil fuel energy to the clean energy now. So what I have understood from reading those reports of Hindenburg, and I mean, it's more than what meets our eye. And there has to be a probe of highest order, and the firm should come up clean. And I wish the very best of all those ethical businessmen and corporate houses who are bringing good name to India's, and is bringing to the map of those rising economies where we don't have to depend on the other nations for our daily consumptions, import and export policy, and also improving the living conditions of the commoners, and to make sure brighter futures everyone. Hail India, and hail Indian businessmen who are doing the ethical practices of bringing wealth to the nations and creating more job opportunities for our young people. And we need, with a non-aligned policy of the whole world shaking hands together to make this world a better place to live.